We are back for another episode, and we're closing in to the final few matches at Cincinnati. But the big news is happening off the court with Carlos Alcaraz announcing he's playing the US Open. We've had Kyrgios drama as well. We're here to speak about it all.
That's right. We are back and doing a podcast for the first time in a long time, but there's a very good reason for that, isn't there, JG? You've been on holiday and I am now a married man. So there you go. It's been a big few days. I'm happy to be back. Let's talk some tennis because...
No, let's talk rings first, Ben, because that's the first time I've seen the ring. Let me see the finger. Looks a bit tight. Can you get it off?
No, hopefully not. There you go. It's stuck on there forever now. That's what we want.
No, but massive congratulations. I'm sure everyone will share me in that sentiment. It's been a long time coming, but Ben is finally married, and I'm not the partner, for those worried. He actually does have someone else away from the podcast, and they're happily married now. So I wish you all of the best, and see you soon in person to celebrate. But on to the tennis. We are reaching the end of Cincinnati. I think we've not got all of the semi-finals set yet, do we? Because we've got the bottom half of the quarterfinals to play. Standouts, Arthur Fees. I think he's been pretty good. Of course, Hadar, he lost his match to the Italian. Caboli, who is flying right now. Another player we probably should have mentioned in the title because you had him inside your top 10. He's looking fantastic, and what a pick he was. Can he go all the way?
Well, he seems to be going deep in so many tournaments this year, and that's why you're seeing him in the live race. He is number 4 right now, Flavio Caboli, and playing some fantastic tennis. I'm excited. Every time he plays a tournament, it is another opportunity to show what he's made of, and especially when you don't get Alcaraz or Sinner in the event. This is the time to shine for all of the other players right now, and he seems to do it. Obviously, we had the French Open. When we didn't have Alcaraz and Sinner went out early, he made the final. So I'm excited to see what happens at the US Open. That's obviously coming up next. That starts in 9 days' time. And this is the tournament which is in the build-up to it. If he can get a win here, the Cincinnati champions technically do pretty well at the US Open. So I'm quite excited to see how he gets on against Arthur Fees next.
Yeah, and of course, the big man is back. Carlos Alcaraz. We've got a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. It's a bit cringe, really, how Fabrizio is getting involved in this as well.
I know.
He did the big post and the announcement as well. I feel with Fabrizio, he just wants clicks constantly. Of course, we're in the transfer market with the football.
Yeah,
he's got such a big following. I thought it was all right. It was fun. It's a bit little cringe, but still quite nice. And the main thing is that Carlos Alcaraz is back on our screens. I think tennis is a worse place without him. You asked me, I think on the last episode, do I think that Carlos Alcaraz can go on and win this event or do well if he is to play? We now know he is going to play. I don't think I'm any closer to answering that. I wasn't sure really on the episode. I think I flip-flopped between the two answers. Now, a few weeks later, surely he must be at some kind of level if he's going to be there competing, but he's not got any warm-up events or anything. He's just going to be going into this a little cold. And it's difficult coming back from the injury he's had with his wrist. I don't know. I'm still flip-flopping. I don't know what level of Carlos Alcaraz we're going to see. And I think if people have these big assumptions that, he's going to enter and he's going to not be very good, he's going to go out early, or people are saying the other side, he's going to go on and win the whole thing, he's so good. It's nonsense. Let's wait and see. There's too many unknowns with this situation.
Most definitely. I think the one thing that everybody's happy about is they're going to get to see him at the event. And some positive things about what's going on off the court with him is he trained for, I think that they said it was 4 hours. He did a 4-hour sort of practice matches with Holger Rune just to make sure he's playing that duration, because he's going to go straight into a slam. So if you're playing for 4 hours on a tennis court at a fairly high level, he managed to win a practice set 7-6 against Holger Rune. I mean, I'm not sure what standard Holger Rune's at the moment. Obviously, he's coming back from injury as well himself, but a great partnership to get together, both coming back from injury, both needing a bit of confidence. And I'm happy to see that he's been able to play for a duration at, I don't think it's match level though. This isn't like
No, means
proper.
nothing.
No, for me, if he goes into an actual full like cauldron like we get at the US Open and he's having to bring out the intensity, that's when you start putting an extra 20% on your forehand. You start really pushing your body. That's when it can break. And that's the big worry, I think, for everybody is, can he just warm his way up through the tournament, get a couple of nice easy wins in the first couple of rounds, get a good draw, hopefully, and then we get to see him. Maybe the wrist starts to warm up a little bit. There's no signs of the injury, and we get a full Carlos Alcaraz performance throughout the 2 weeks.
I'm going to go back to the king, Rafael Nadal. And when he had his injuries over the years, I remember recently, I think it might have been at a Wimbledon, he had a few practice sets, maybe one against Daniel Medvedev or something off the top of my head. And he was looking great. Like he won the set and everyone was all excited. Then he come to the actual tournament and he just didn't look physically that good at all. That's why these practice sets, take it all with a pinch of salt. It's good that he was able to get through the match without any injuries, it seems. Otherwise, he obviously wouldn't be playing the US Open. But we do not have a clue. One indicator of what the bookmakers think is they've got him a second favourite for the US Open, 3.5. Yannick Sinner, 1.91, so he's under evens. You then got Zverev third at 6s. And full favourite, no surprise, Novak Djokovic at 11s.
I love that.
Really, the big favourite is Yannick Sinner, then followed by Alcaraz. But they expect Yannick Sinner to win. I think that is sensible. However, if Alcaraz just hits the ground running, it looks like he's never left, then for me, it's always going to be a 50-50 shootout between the two of them.
Yeah, we don't really know much about what's coming from Yannick Sinner's camp at the moment either. Obviously, he himself was casting injury doubts, and I would like to see him on a practice call. I haven't heard much news at all from the Yannick Sinner side at the moment, but no news is good news. Let's take that. That's what I think we'll go with that with Yannick Sinner, and we're just assuming he will be there. Alcaraz was the real big doubt because he's missed 4 months of tennis. So obviously Yannick Sinner just won Wimbledon, and taking a longer break could be the right decision just so that he can get his body in the shape possible. He's got all the best team around him that he's trying to get his body back to the same level it was at Wimbledon. He doesn't need really the warm-up events. I mean, great to play Cincinnati, but if he plays the US Open and starts the tournament, the first few matches will be the warm-up like he did at Wimbledon. And then by the second week, he'll probably see 100% Yannick Sinner again.
Yeah, but listen to this one, Ben. No man has ever won the US Open without playing in the Canada or Cincinnati Masters. So Alcaraz is going to have to do that. Sinner too. And no man since 2008 has defended the US Open. So that's not good for Carlos Alcaraz. So things are stacked against him statistically. But if anyone can break him, I'm sure either of them two can.
I like the fact that there's lots of other names, though, floating around on the men's tour. Like, since they've been away, all the rest can play. True. And now that they're probably gaining confidence now. An injured Sinner or an injured Alcaraz coming back to the US Open, if you're in their section, you'll be fancying your chances. You'll be like, I've just gone deep in 2 Masters events, or I've just won one of the Masters in Canada or in Cincinnati. You'll fancy your chances now coming into the US Open. And if you can just cast a shadow of doubt in Alcaraz's mind in the match that he's not quite 100% and he can't quite hit the balls that he's wanting to, we've seen it before. Alcaraz, if the crowd gets, if he plays an American, let's say, in the first few rounds, it's a good one, that could be a real bad omen for him because he doesn't like the crowd against him.
Yeah, and there is, I was just having a look while you were saying that about the young players and players who have sort of come to the forefront since them guys have been away. And you'd probably have to look at the first one being Rafael Nadal at a career high now, almost in the top 10. I know he's just lost here in Cincinnati, but still ridiculous player. Ridiculous player. He's a contender for me for the US Open already, and a player who can trouble a Yannick Sinner and Alcaraz any moment. I think it is only going to get better and better with them two not having maybe the practice events and some injury concerns. Hadar is going to be there. He's physically fit, ready, hungry, and dangerous. Fees, he's had injury concerns, but I think he's there or thereabouts as well. He's looking really good right now in Cincinnati. And the other one I wanted to mention, of course, is Fonseca, but he's a little bit more up and down. But I do think we have that wow factor from him. And Lorenzo Musetti is actually doing quite well right now in Cincinnati. He's had a bit of an up and down year. I've got him inside my top 10. He's very close to that, but I need him to go really deep at Cincinnati to be inside the top 10.
Yeah, he's
in fact, he can't be yet, but he's approaching, and he's got a big US Open potentially in him.
Yeah, if he gets some more results at Cincinnati, then you could see him. I mean, if he won it, he'll be pushing himself in the race all the way up to like top 16. Yep. So,
and then Caboli, of course. Sorry, you mentioned him. That's obviously the main one I forgot to mention. What a year he's having. I mean, Wimbledon finalist, looking good in all the slams, great on all the surfaces, getting better and better. Just beating Hadar, which I think is such a difficult thing to do. How high is his ceiling? I mean, for me, he's got to be a contender who can, I think, now go on and beat maybe an Alcaraz or maybe a Sinner. He's close. He's right there or thereabouts.
If he defeats Arthur Fees, he'll go above Alcaraz in the race, which is huge for him. Obviously, Sasha Zverev and Yannick Sinner are miles in front, you see. But that fight for third is looking pretty good. And then with the US Open on the horizon, who knows? It's all up for grabs. Obviously, the standout players there. Shelton, he's just come off the back of winning the Canadian Masters, but didn't have a very good showing in Cincinnati, probably due to the fact he went deep in Canada. Hadar, we've just got to I'm just blown away by what he's done in this year. Never would have seen him in the top 8 of the race. And he could even go even higher. I think he's just, now we're in the hard court swing. It suits him. He's so aggressive. I love watching him play. He's above Taylor Fritz and Djokovic and Felix. I mean, there's a lot of players that you'd never have thought he'd be above. Mensik, you've got de Minaur. So many good players, and he's right up there, and he is definitely warranted because he is one of the best players on tour right now, and one of the most exciting. He's going deep in Masters events. Can he go deep at the US Open, though? I think all the draws are the biggest thing at this US Open. It's going to be a very interesting draw reaction, I think, this one.
Definitely. Of course, great that Alcaraz is there though now, because it does make it that extra. It gives that extra element of spice. I think in other news, Djokovic is not going to do anything. I think this has got to be the end of it. I know. Listen, I can see. I feel like we could probably rewind to a few episodes, and I can hear the comments already coming through. But Friday, the 21st of August. As we're recording, 2026, let me clarify the year because Djokovic seems to be there forever. I just don't see him now going on deep in any slams anymore. Like, surely this is now the end. This is the curtain raiser. I think his chance was at Wimbledon recently, and he wasn't able to take it. That was surely the last hurrah. Could you see something at the US Open? I just really don't see it.
But that's the thing with Novak Djokovic, though. We can't keep on counting him out, though, can we? We keep counting him out, I think, in the other
he wasn't great at Cincinnati.
Well, that's the thing. You can count him out maybe at the Masters, but I think the Masters these days are just warm-up events for him for the slams.
But even a Fonseca beating him at Wimbledon, come on, Fonseca's good, but he should be beating a Fonseca.
You mean a Roland Garros? Yeah. I mean, but if you look at his other performances, got to the final of the Australian Open this year and semi-final of Wimbledon. Look, last year, semi-finals of every single Grand Slam. Alcaraz and Sinner not fully fit coming in. He normally turns up. The one that he was going to do worst in was always going to be Roland Garros because it's the most grueling out of all of them. This one, he knows he can win. the US Open. He did it back there in 2023. Didn't have a great one there in 2024, but semi-finals last year. Anything's possible with Djokovic.
It
I
is,
know
but
that
he's not been great at the US
no,
Open over the years.
yeah, it's not been his best, but when he's had to win it, in that one in 2023, that was number 24. Remember that he just wanted to solidify that 24th slam. He was able to do it. Obviously, he wasn't able to do it against Daniil Medvedev when it really mattered, when he needed to get that calendar slam, which was devastating that he didn't manage to get that one. But he could get number 25. I still think it's a possibility, but the draw, it's always from above. That's what we need. We need divine intervention for Djokovic to be able to get him through.
Okay, if anything, this could be potentially, I'm coming around to maybe saying the last chance, because with Australian Open, but I don't think it is. I don't, because the US Open is not one of his stronger ones. Alcaraz and Sinner are going to be ready back for next year. I don't see, if injuries keep away, they're going to be back ready. Got all these other players coming through. Djokovic is only going to be them worse next year. It is the end, and I think it is even now. But
in decline.
If anything, it could be interesting somewhat, a little bit, see how he gets on. But I'm not encouraged at all by that.
Well, someone who's definitely going to do better than will be someone who's probably not even going to be playing the events. And I think that's where we should segue to next, because it is the big story. We haven't spoken about it yet.
No.
So we're going to have to speak about it. People probably are going to watch this or listen and say, oh, don't give him any airtime. But we have to, because it is one of the biggest stories of the week. And it is Mr. Nick Kyrgios. He has been provisionally suspended from the tour, from his own admission as well. Came out before anybody else, TMZ or anyone else, could come out and get it out there, to admit that he failed a drug test after testing positive for cocaine in Mallorca, or Magaluf, whilst playing in the Mallorca Open. And now everybody has receipts on all of his comments about failed drug tests, which are all coming back to haunt him.
Yeah, and he's blaming the fact of all the injuries and the mental toll and stress and everything else. But I don't think this is his first rodeo in Mallorca on cocaine, for sure. I think he's a bit of a party guy. He doesn't take the sport that seriously. He's always said he didn't choose the sport chose him. He is super talented at what he does. He was fantastic at Wimbledon that year when he got all the way to the final. There's a good player in there. He does sell tickets. I've always been interested to see some of his matches at times, but there's always a circus what surrounds him, and this is just another event, another clown added to the circus. And with him, he's very vocal about Yannick Sinner. He's very vocal about everyone else. Bit of a hypocrite, really, when he's then now not passing drug tests. The big difference is, of course, this is not a performance-enhancing drug. He's just an idiot more than anything. And I mean that in not a real disrespectful way, because I don't think being an idiot is always a bad thing. I think it's good to be sometimes just be a bit light and free, a free spirit. But in this sense, when you are a professional in a sport, you just can't be doing that. And it is idiotic.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing which you consider him as a really good tennis player. But I would say the level of professionalism from him as a tennis player is just not high at all. He can turn up. He can play great tennis. He played against Sabalenka in some random exhibition match. I mean, he's there for some talked about moments. That's what Kyrgios is really known for these days. He's not really known for somebody who's going to go in and go deep in tournaments. He's had his injury problems. He's just trying to stay a little bit relevant and just try and stay around, keep the sponsors happy. This won't keep the sponsors happy, unfortunately for him, because this doesn't do anything for your image other than tarnish it. Yeah, you're a bit of a party guy, but it's just like he said, he's having to apologize because there's a lot of kids who probably follow him now, and now it is a little bit embarrassing that he has to come out and put a statement out like this. And now he's going to be banned from playing in certain events, which he might have wanted to play in. Like he might have been able to play, and now he can't. So,
yeah, I mean, he handpicks these events just where there's a party going on, or probably he's got other commitments.
Well, America, surely.
Tennis is always secondary. What else I find embarrassing is you, actually, Ben, because you had him inside your top 10 not too long ago and a few years ago. So do you want to have any comment on what was going through your mind? You thought
he made the
Kyrgios was
Wimbledon
a super
final.
consistent player who's going to arrive in a top 10 scenario.
Remember, he came out and he gave that statement after, and he said, "I'm making tennis my main focus." He's made the Wimbledon
And you lapped
final,
it all up.
and he was looking great at that US Open, and we all believed it until he got that injury. And then when he got the injury, he just went off the wagon again. And I don't think anybody didn't believe that he was serious, because he was actually said, "I'm going to do the touring," because he doesn't like traveling. He said, I'm going to travel everywhere. I'm going to try and get up the rankings. I'm going to try and win every Grand Slam I'm in. And then as soon as the injury hit, he was just, crushed everything he was saying. And he probably just thought, I'll just go back to being the clown again, I guess. And that earns him enough money he probably earns oodles of cash just doing what he does right now. So if that's the way it's got to be for the remainder of his career, so be it. I still like watching him play, even if it's just exhibitions. I think he's a character. I'm sure you could have a good beer with him and a good time. He's a fun guy.
You're not going to see him play anymore.
I doubt it.
I think it's all done with Nick Kyrgios. And the other thing is, I'd like to think that you've learnt your lesson by putting him inside the top 10, but clearly you haven't, because you've made the similar mistake this year on the women's with Raducanu. So unfortunately, Ben, you've got this weakness with players who show no interest to tennis. You seem to like them more than anyone.
Is Rafael Nadal in your top 10 this year?
At least he liked tennis and he wanted to play it. He loved tennis and he wanted to play, and he fought to play. He had injuries that stopped him from playing. Nick Kyrgios don't care. Raducanu don't care. At least pick players who like tennis.
It was a bit of a delusional pick that time. I think it was the same year I picked Kyrgios. You picked Nadal, and then Nadal didn't even played about one tournament. But anyway, yeah. I mean, Simona Halep's come out.
What about Raducanu? Is Raducanu making top 10 this year?
She's just struggling, I think, mentally at the moment. She's probably got a new wild card, maybe. The trouble is, if she gets a wild card in, and the fact Jack Draper didn't is going to be like appalling. Jack Draper's having to play qualifying for the US Open, which I think it's good for him. He needs to build himself back up. But I think if anybody, he's a semi-finalist recently. He needs to give some respect to Jack Draper, if anybody. But it is what it is. He's not seen as probably a big enough name to give him a wild card. So be it. Simona Halep, she's happy that this happened to Kyrgios, because she's straight out and criticizing him. Never kick someone when they're down. Life has a strange way of changing positions, and an even stranger way of revealing the difference between an accident and a choice. And he said, if I was taking similar things to be banned for 4 years, I'd have 5 slams. That's what he said to her. And she obviously, I feel sorry for Simona Halep, because she did get banned for a long time, and it got proven that she wasn't actually guilty, but she didn't really get any apologies, didn't get anything. All of that time lost. And unfortunately,
was it? I don't know what to believe. There's always something. There's no smoke without fire, as they say.
Potentially not, but if you do get acquitted of something, it would be nice of all the people. But it never happens. It's always trial by media.
You can never take the time back either. No, so it's tough.
That's the real problem with it all. Poor Simona Halep, but at least she's having a little dig back at Kyrgios. It's good to see him getting a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. Will Sinner come out? That's what I want to know. I'd love to see Yannick Sinner come out and have a little jab at him. It would be funny. Scott Barkley's loving it as well. He said Kyrgios' career is over. Zverev losing yesterday, and now confirmation of Alcaraz playing the US Open. An absolutely unreal 2 days of good tennis news back to back. So he loves all of this stuff that's going on right now.
I agree with some of that, but I would actually like to see Zverev at the US Open, because he has turned a corner, and it'll be fascinating to see this version of Zverev post-winning a slam against this version of Alcaraz and Sinner maybe as well. I think it would have been a good matchup. So in a way, I think that's a shame, Zverev not being there. I know people don't like him for many other reasons, but I would have liked to seen him from a tennis standpoint playing. I think that would have been an interesting matchup.
Zverev should be playing. He just went out and just lost in Cincinnati. So that's
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Apologies.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, just him losing early. Okay, fair enough. So it's not that he's
Yeah.
not playing the US Open. He is still playing that.
Yeah. He's just number one seed, just went out. Gil Gross, he's been very vocal recently on social media, and this one's quite a good one. Said the US Open becomes the first to create a pension-like fund. Grand Slam Player Council is created. The campaign from top players to pressure the slams into giving them more has been a resounding success. All they had to do was organize and advocate. No significant protest required. And I think this sort of ties in with this as well, where the Grand Slam first round prize money is the highest it's ever been. So that you see the US Open there. For the first round players, they'll get $140,000 now, which is at least they're starting to bump up the early rounds. So some of these players who are slightly lower ranked who do make it into the first round, people who are casual tennis fans probably don't realize how difficult it is to get into the first round of a Grand Slam. If you just watch the slams, you think, oh, that player's rubbish. Oh, they just lost. They got blitzed by Djokovic in straight sets. He's come through 3 rounds of qualifying. He's beaten all, like, he's in the top 100 probably.
Yeah.
That's so difficult. They're like unbelievable tennis players.
In the
They
world.
they deserve to be compensated for how good they are and how much of a struggle it is to get into a Grand Slam. So I'm happy to see this.
Yeah, totally agree with that. That it's nice to see, and I'm sure the other slams will follow suit. But I don't know. I don't think it's been that drastic as what the players have made out. It has always been trending upwards. Maybe it needed a little bit of a bump, which is received. But
Yeah,
all in all, I think the prize money is heading in the right direction, and it's all going quite well.
for sure. Sad news on the women's side is for Elena Rybakina. That is one of the big stories, I think.
Yeah.
After she had a fantastic Canadian Open, she was having an equally good Cincinnati and came up against Iga again. But this time we didn't even really get a match. She just got injured. Achilles issue 5 games into her match with Iga. Very concerning, I would agree, because Achilles, I've had problems once before in my life, and it is, yeah, I mean, you can't run around. It's just like you can't barely walk.
Yeah.
Terrible injury.
Yeah, difficult to get back, takes some time. And the sad thing for her is she's how well she's been playing. Like there's an opportunity with Iga, who's only recently returned and playing well, but before that, not had a fantastic year from the start of 26. Right now, Sabalenka's fallen off a bit. Rybakina was 2 matches away from becoming world number 1 for the first time. So things were looking really positive for her. Then she got injured. So all this has now done is it's been great for Iga, who's going maybe back to back winning titles. The way let's see how she gets on in Cincinnati, but looking really good, probably the favourite there, and a great opportunity for her to go to the US Open and do some damage. I don't think Rybakina is going to be there.
It doesn't look like, and she's typically a bit of a bogey player for Iga, even though she did beat her obviously in Canada. But she'll be looking at the other player who's normally the big threat, Sabalenka, who is completely mentally checked out of tennis, it seems, at the moment. Doesn't seem to have any fight in her when it comes to the back end of sets. And she lost to the young Czech player Bejlek. It was a bit of a whimper, really, at the end of each set. 7-6, 6-4, straight sets defeat by Sabalenka on a hard court, coming into the US Open. I mean, Bejlek's a good player, but Sabalenka should be winning that type of match for me.
Yeah, it seems a mental problem. I think there's a bit of fatigue, mental fatigue from a lot of tennis she's played over the years. She's gone deep in a lot of events, and I think in her personal life, a lot's gone on. She's just recently, I think, planning on getting married and things. And I don't know. I feel like she's a bit distracted from what she's doing with the tennis, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do see her do not very well at the US Open. I think it's going to be like this for maybe the rest of the year, which gives a great opportunity for the young players on the women's, and we've already seen them. Noskova, fantastic at Wimbledon. Andreeva, fantastic at Roland Garros. And Boku's been good here and there in the year. Alex Iala, another young player who's taking opportunities.
Well.
Kostyuk's looking good. So it's given a whole heap of opportunities to the younger women on tour. And if I'm honest, I'm looking at one of them names I've just mentioned to go on and win the US Open. I don't think it's coming from the like big 3-4 players.
Mm. Yeah, you could be right. The US Open does throw up some surprises, and if, like we can see there at the top, the best two players and the big hitters on the hard courts, Rybakina number 1 in the race, Sabalenka number 2 in the race, Mirra Andreeva number 3, but she's not really a hard hitter on a hard court. Pegula, she's in great form. She's in the semi-finals in Cincinnati.
Yeah, sure.
Svitolina, fancy her chances.
Maybe.
Coco Gauff, maybe a massive opportunity for her.
Definitely.
But I think the biggest opportunity right now is for Iga to try and put another slam on her record. She's the most informed player on the women's tour coming into the US Open, I'd say. If she's able...
Based off the last few weeks, yeah. But not... I think there's been more informed players beyond that who can do some real good stuff. Linda Noskova, Iga Jovic, really maybe at the US Open. Who's to say she can't do something? Alex Iala, I'm going to be going big on again. So that's where I'm at. I can see Alex Iala beating an Iga at US Open, for example.
Well, there's another couple of names there we need to mention as well, because Anisimova, another player who is much more consistent these days. Osaka at the US Open, if the draw's kind and she gets on a run, could be dangerous as well. Very open US Open this year, I think, compared to some of the past years where you just thought maybe Sabalenka would just come in and just wipe everyone off the court. I think this could be one of the most open that we've seen in maybe the past 3 or 4 years. The draw will be key, because obviously this isn't the actual rankings. I'll bring the actual rankings up, which will probably help a bit better with where players will be seeded. Let me just bring that up 1 sec. So Iga will be the big name. Obviously, if she wins here, she will probably move herself up into, what was that, about 6th spot. But it will still be the big player to avoid for all of those top 4 players on the tour.
Rybakina won't be there. So it will move the seeds up slightly, which is good for maybe Mirra Andreeva. But who knows? We've still got some tennis to be played yet. So let's wait and see for the US Open, and we'll do a reaction before that. Were there any other stories?
No, I think that's it. I think we've covered the main topics. We'll bring you some reaction to the final matches of Cincinnati once we have our finals, once we have our champions. But yeah, sorry for not bringing you a podcast, like a long form for about a week. But yeah, a lot going on.
That's right. And who do you think is going to win the men's Cincinnati? I feel like you've given away the women. Do you think Iga? And I tend to agree. But the men's is more open.
The men's is more open. I think Arthur Fees might win it, to be honest. Even though I want Caboli to win it, I think Fees looks the best to me.
Okay, I think Caboli could win it, but I want Musetti. So let's leave it there. Italians got a good chance. And it's not Yannick Sinner. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you very soon for another episode.